This is a Thunder Update. I'm Joe Masato, joined by columnist Barry Trammell. And Barry, a week ago today, well, really all of last week, it looked like the NBA was heading toward a return. Everything was going smoothly. The Board of Governors had approved the restart plan. The Players Association, led by Chris Paul, had approved a restart plan. Kyrie Irving, though, met with players last night, and all of a sudden it's not looking as likely or as sure of a thing that the NBA is going to resume its season.
Well, it seems pretty clear that some NBA players are not crazy about the Disney World plan. We kept thinking here for a month or even 2 months talking about the NBA restart. The health factor was, paramount in everybody's mind. Could you stay away from the coronavirus? But turns out just the quarantine, the bubble nature of the plan didn't set well with a lot of NBA players. And of course, the racial protests that have erupted in the country the last 2 or 3 weeks, it plays a factor in that. So now all kinds of things are sort of colluding to raise into question whether we'll have basketball in Orlando or not.
Yeah, one of Kyrie's main points, as ESPN and the Athletic reported this, is that he thinks a resumption of play will distract from the Black Lives Matter movement and the protests across the country. One person not on that call reportedly was LeBron James, who said that he can do both at the same time, and he doesn't think it will distract. So that's a big issue. It's not just the coronavirus concerns, as you mentioned. At this point, Kyrie is known to be on the opposite side of things a lot, not always going with the rest of the pack in the NBA. How much weight do you think he carries as a member of the executive committee, as a vice president of the Players Association with this argument?
Well, I guess he carries a little because, if you remember, we all were surprised when he became a vice president of the Players Association. I mean, this is a guy that believes in ghosts and is completely convinced that the world is a globe. You generally don't want to listen to flat Earth Society members, but apparently he's got some respect around the league and off the court matters. Else he wouldn't be the vice president unless they were just taking volunteers. That's always a possibility. But he clearly has the ears of some. But it's not just Kyrie that has spoken about this. I mean, other players have expressed reservations about, hey, do we really want to do this? And it's become this three-pronged attack, or not attack, a three-pronged question. The virus, the bubble, and the protests. A lot of different moving parts. I think Kyrie Irving actually has a decent point about the protests. This is, it's not a great look for the NBA or for players in the middle of the biggest civil rights uprising in America in at least 50 years. A group of white-owned basketball owners quarantine players, majority of who are black, into a quarantine situation in Orlando. So the optics are not good for that. So I can sort of understand that. I agree with LeBron James that the resumption of the NBA season would give the players a particular platform to further the discussions on Black Lives Matter and police reform and all the other issues we've been talking about. But the optics are strange. So I just, to me, it took so long to get this plan set up. That shows the immense hurdles and problems that were there. And now that when you get some pushback, you get some anti-play from the players. To me, it calls into question whether there will even be an NBA resumption to this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think so as well. I also agree that, Kyrie's point, I think, is very valid because without sports right now, the protests and the movement that's happening across our country, it's it's being written about across the nation. It's being on every television broadcast. Sports, I think, in a way, would distract from that. I'm not saying sports couldn't use its platform to demonstrate and to raise those issues, but it would sort of distract from a much more powerful thing in society. So I think he's got a point there. Barry, with Chris Paul being president of the Players Association, it seems like him and a lot of the superstars do want to resume the season. What ultimately do you think will happen?
Well, I agree. I think the superstars do want to play. When you look at a select number of those superstars, I mean, all kinds of important things are going on in the world, but winning NBA championships are important to those people. They're important to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Giannis and all the guys with a legitimate chance to win it. And they don't have an infinite number of opportunities. So I think they will want to play. And generally speaking, superstars end up winning the day in the NBA. It's a players' league, and it's really a superstars' league in a lot of ways. I tend to think we will end up playing. I do think we could have some serious adjustments to the Orlando plan. I could see going to a case of going straight to 16 teams. If you go straight to the playoffs in Orlando, you've cut the number of teams by 6. You go from 22 to 16. You cut the number of games exponentially, you could get together, play 2 or 3 exhibition games, interconference. So it's not really going to affect the playoff dynamic much. And to me, that might be a compromise. Going straight to the playoffs, that would help the season. Might even finish a little early. To me, one of the problems with the Orlando plan is it's so squashed. An October 13 potential finish to the NBA Finals is very, very deep when you're looking to start the next season in December. So I think there are some valid reasons for going to 16. Clearly, financial was the reason they did not want to scrap the regular season. But at this point, that might be the best option.
Yeah, I mean, plans that were going quite smoothly, negotiations that really no one objected to, now got a lot harder. So, even if the season does start July 30th, it's still a month away, more than a month away from that start. So we'll see how it goes before then. But thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of Thunder Extra.